Hi there, Sania. Please switch your audio on. That's better. Let's see if Denise is joining us. Wait for Denise. Wait for Denise. Come on, Denise. Here she is. Hi, Denise. Oh, that's so much better. Thank you so much. Sorry, it was my laptop. It must have been my actual system. You are struggling with hay fever. I'm so sorry.
I gotta turn off my video.
Okay, all right. I'm so sorry, Denise.
Oh. My eyes are gushing. Anyway.
Okay, now how do we switch on the Facebook thing? How do I go and do that?
Okay, so go into full view, full screen.
I'm in full screen.
Hover on the bottom. Oh, bless you.
Thank you.
Hover on the bottom of your laptop screen.
Yeah.
All right, why don't you have it on yours? Oh, this is making me
Want me to share my screen with you?
Yes, please. I can't see it from over here. It won't show me the more section.
That's my screen.
It's asking a dialog prompt to open Zoom.
So I go live, I click on live on Facebook. Can you see my screen?
Okay, so are you on the top part now if you can hover?
Yeah.
All right, try more view options.
So I go more and it goes down and I go live on Facebook.
Yes.
So I click live on Facebook and then it starts loading my web browser.
Right, there you go. Because right now all I can see is when system dialog prompts, click open Zoom.
Hang on a minute, just loading it.
I hope you don't mind if I have to take a screenshot as evidence to put in my process journal.
We will actually send you the video.
Oh, that would be great. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Now, please, God, let me get into my Facebook. I don't know what my Facebook is, my password. Just let's see if it gets me in. Oh, please, power of technology. Oh, God, of IT, of Facebook, of online. Please, God, please work. Okay. Oh, it says, sorry, something went wrong. All right, we go back. Let's start again.
Sania, I think you should get extra credit for the technology portion of this event.
Oh, please, please, yes, we're in. Oh.
A Sunday morning miracle.
So, do we want to share it in a group? Yeah, let's go to a group. And the group name is called
Climate Action Teachers, yeah.
And it's a public group.
Yeah. But it still was hard to share. I didn't have a share thing when I was doing it, so I don't know.
Doesn't like it.
Next. There you go. This is the part we never get to see when we're attending someone else's video. They've already worked, you know, through their section of harassment, obstacle course.
It says try the new design for going live. Not now.
Yeah, we barely know that one.
So what do I do? It says preview.
Yeah, so on the bottom, you can, on the right, my right hand side.
Go live.
Where it says title, above go live, put in a title. That way we know which video this is.
The title is Sania Anand. And the name of the school?
Mount Litra.
Mount?
Litra, Litera.
ERA?
Yeah.
Doesn't let me have a big Litera, yeah?
School International.
Right. Okay.
Now, when you're ready, tell us you're ready, and then click on go live. On my end, whenever I do it, buffers.
It's previewing. It's going, making loads and loads and loads of videos all the way down.
Yeah, I don't know what that's doing, actually. I've never seen that before.
Is it going crazy?
Okay, now that's buffering.
So we are live. Are we live, Denise?
I think we're live. Yes, we are.
Okay, so we would like to welcome today. How do I get back there?
Screen share.
I'm screen sharing. Okay, so we are welcoming Sania Anand. How do we pronounce your name, Sania?
Sania Anand. So it's
Okay.
completely right.
Now, Sania got in touch with us. She's 15 years old, and she said, I have all these questions, and somebody had better answer them right now. And she sent our support desk tons of emails, and they are all trying to paddle above water, trying to deal with these thousands of emails coming in.
Oh,
And then she messaged me she rang me on my phone and she said, why didn't you answer my messages? And I said, look, I've seen your messages. I am trying to get through them. And then I just said, look, why don't we just have a quick WhatsApp chat? Get on, are you on your mother's phone? Yes. Okay, this is an expensive call. Now, Sania, what we're going to show you, Denise and I created something called the Climate Change Teacher Course, and we trialed it for 1 year. We initially partnered with the United Nations, and we used, in our initial iteration of our Climate Change Teacher Course, we used 5 UN courses that were on a hardly known website, which the UN used for developing countries, governments, and local councils and things like that. And they'd had that site open for about 7 years. But in those 7 years, they delivered 3,000 certificates. So when Denise and I came up with our idea, our concept, we said to them, we would like to deliver a cross-curricular climate curriculum. We want to teach children more about climate change, and we want to build climate change and sustainability as if it's a golden thread right throughout the curriculum. And Angus Mackay of UNCC Learn invited us to Geneva, where we went and we pitched to 35 United Nations agencies over four and a half days. And they said, okay, we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. We're going to let you try this out. And we took these 5 courses and we paid the UN a substantial sum of money. We paid the UN. So please make a note of that. It was not backed by the UN. It was not funded by the UN. Denise and I funded it ourselves. And we set up a new portal. So it was the UNCCE Learn /eduCate portal. And we launched the climate change teacher course in the United Kingdom on the 22nd of April, 2019. And our remit from the UN was to get into 80 schools and to run a trial of that in 80 UK schools. And I say this with brevity because unfortunately that went viral. And we had thousands and thousands of teachers signing up to do that course.
Wow.
And then we had major problems because it's all very well and good to offer somebody a course, but when you don't offer them support, the whole pack of cards collapses. So providing teachers with lesson plans and things like that, that's just what we call scattergunning. And we are not here to deliver scattergunning. We're here to deliver the answers to the questions that you've asked us. Because there are millions of children like you asking us those questions every day, asking their teachers those questions every day. So what we created was a new system where schools signed up to do the eduCCate Global Awards. And the head teacher or the principal of the school nominates a sustainability and climate change lead teacher. That sustainability and climate change lead teacher nominates 5 support teachers beneath them. That becomes your nucleus of your sustainability and climate change teacher team, right? That's your main team in your school to start driving through the change that you need to get everybody prepared. That is sometimes a really difficult process for some schools, but for other schools, they hit like a duck to water and they through that process within like a week. It just depends on what they're busy with. You have to support those teachers because teachers are super busy right now, and with everything that's been going on with COVID-19 and all the online learning and teaching the vulnerable children and everybody, schools are open, but they're doing double the work. So how it then works is the teachers get through that bronze award and we send the school the reward, we send the certificate to the head teacher, we verify those teachers, we go back to the UN, we pay for somebody at the UN to verify, to make sure that everything is tickety-boo, and then we give that certificate to the sustainability and climate change lead teacher, and these support teachers get their certificates. That goes to the school head teacher or principal. They deliver it so that we know that everybody in that school is managing this as a team. Okay. Then we do a Zoom meeting with that school, with that team, and we give them access. So like your school, and you have access here now. We see on our main website, on our educateglobal.org website, those schools then click the login button, and they will be given to the eduCCate Global e-library. That's one of the access points that they are given. There's 2. Now, this morning, I could not give you access to the other one because that has to be verified by your school sustainability and climate change lead teacher. And we will sort that out in the next few days. So Monday, you and I are going to deal with that, and we will get your school to give, you know, to activate that access, and then we will go through the next part of the process with them. This is the eduCCate Global e-library. This is the world's largest sustainability and climate change e-library. Now, the questions that you've asked us, all of the answers are here and in the other portal that I'm going to show you. So this portal, when you are on the homepage, now you are a member, you've activated your student access. On this homepage here, can you see there is a language toggle? Select your language.
Yeah.
You can click that and scroll down. You can actually have that. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
You can choose any of these 54 languages to view this e-library in. You can choose any one: Japanese, Latvian, Swahili, Swedish, Thai, Turkish, Ukrainian, Urdu, Vietnamese, Welsh, Yiddish, Hebrew, Greek, German, and so on and so on. Chinese simplified, which is Chinese Mandarin, Chinese traditional, Azerbaijani, Afrikaans, okay, and so on. Now, the reason we did that, Sania, is because we have thousands and thousands of teachers that signed up to do the course initially. But we started seeing pockets of schools around the world. So schools in the UAE, United Arab Emirates, they wanted the course in Arabic. And we set up these Slack channels with teams, teachers, and translators. But the job became so big. We were on it. We were translating it into 25 languages. And this is when Tim Collins, our resident polymath, said, I think we need to help our translators out. So what he did was he built this toggle onto our e-library. The e-library is effectively a closed social platform. Nobody is going to mine your data here, Sania. And on Facebook, information is pushed down the algorithm. You can't push anything down on the algorithm here. So as a student, you will click on Explore and Explore, and you will go to the main area, the main sort of area which gives you all of the items in the library. We are busy uploading thousands of lessons from NASA. We have a new project coming called the Peaceful Planet, and that is a partnership with University California, Irvine and World Peace Day. That will be accredited by UCI, and it will be accredited probably by very highly, like, I'm not going to discuss too much, another major university in America. Okay. We have recently added a new educators course from the WWF here, right? They're not going to like me because I think it's great, but it's nowhere near what we have already, okay? So nice pictures. I like pictures. Anyway, so I'm a very visual learner. Denise is your more kinesthetic learner. She likes to read and read and read and research and do stuff. Me, I'm a visual bot. My brain works visually and audially. I like to listen to stuff. I like to see it. I like to see the pictures. And then I read. I'm a bit of a lazy bum. Okay. So, now you wanted to know, the first question you said, what is the science behind climate change and what are some of the biggest causes? All of the answers that you are going to need, Samia, you are going to go here. You remember you said explore, explore, and it shows the United Nations. You're going to toggle across and you're going to choose this one here called Introduction to Climate Change. It is my favorite UN course, my favorite. It is old, so let me warn you, a lot of the stuff on it is outdated, but it is simply sublime. Okay, I love it. Now, you are going to be working through each and every item here. So you are going to be going through all of the content that is on here. But before you can go through the content on there, your school would have given you access to this, okay? Your school would have delivered an introduction to climate change with you. And I'm going to show you what your school sees. Now, your school gets access to the full eduCCate Global Blended Learning Suite, okay? What happened in our trial, Sania, was that so many teachers came back and we had two levels. We had one group of teachers that said to us, we don't get the support from our head teachers. We are trying to put through this content and the training and everything else, but we don't have the support. Then we had another group of teachers that had the full backing of their head teachers and they had the support, but they asked us for the content. And we kept getting the same stuff coming through again and again and again. Like I said earlier, you can provide anybody with a course, but if you do not provide a full 360-degree support structure, everything collapses. You therefore do not have solid foundations. So we were very, very lucky. One of our schools is an eduCCate Global Gold School, and that school is in Derbyshire. And that school has a head teacher called Fiona Cowan, who is a leading educator. She's been a head teacher for 20 years, and she trained the cluster of schools in Derbyshire here. She created with us this here. It's called How to Teach Climate Change, and it is an inset training for those eduCCate Global Award schools to work through her modules. So this is what it looks like, okay? And it's all about how to teach climate change and then mapping the climate curriculum, okay? So this How to Teach Climate Change is something that when your school activates their access on Monday, they will have all these modules, module 1 through to module 4. There's an introduction, okay? And they can choose, your sustainability and climate change lead teacher is going to choose if they want to just give access to all the teachers in the school this inset training online, or if they want to deliver it as their own inset training. And what Fiona discusses in here is the language that you use, how to negate eco-anxiety within your staff, your teaching staff, because I can assure you the content in the UN courses gets you quite anxious because it freaks you out. So it's about making sure that everybody's mental health and emotional health is sound and solid and confident with the teachers and the pupils. And Fiona covers all of that in this training, okay? Now, once that school, that team has delivered that How to Teach Climate Change training, they then have access. I'm just going to go down because these are all of our other, this is our portal. Now, you are seeing the portal the way that I see it because I have access to everything. A school that has the eduCCate Global Blended Learning Package, they only get they only see certain items on here, okay? So they won't see everything. What you are seeing now is my main dashboard, so I can see all of this. But now, the schools came back and asked us, how do we now deliver these UN courses to our pupils? So what we did was we created audio-visual versions, video versions of the very course that you want to do here, Introduction to Climate Change. So that is the first one that you are going to do this coming week. As soon as I give you access, okay, you are going to do the Introduction to Climate Change, and that will give you answers to that first question: what is the science behind climate change and what are the biggest causes? It's all in there. It is an amazing course. The second course you are going to do, Sania, is called Children and Climate Change. The third one is my favorite, but then maybe I'm just biased. I love cities and climate change. I don't know why I like it so much. I just like it. I know why I like cities and climate change. Because I think that if we start building sustainable buildings and sustainable cities and sustainable environments, we start living sustainably, and our homes are sustainable and our buildings are sustainable, and we start thinking in a different way. And that's where I think we're going to be heading. Sustainable cities and climate change. And the other course you're going to do is called Human Health and Climate Change. That is a hard-hitting one, because you're going to see how climate change affects our health throughout the world. And there are beautiful case studies in there. Then you're going to look at gender and environment, Sania. That course got me very angry. Because why are we in a modern society after all these years still looking at gender bias and gender issues all the way? That course shows me how climate change affects women and children around the world. And that one will have you screaming at your screen. This course here is a bonus course, but it is part of the eduCCate Global Blended Learning suite of courses. It is called Sustainable Food Technology. That is for your food tech teacher. So whoever's going to be teaching you food technology, that is for them. Now, an added course is the Climate Change International Legal Regime. A lot of teachers failed this course because it's hard. It's full of acronyms, and it explains the legalities of why we are and where we are now. And when you go through that course, you will realize that you are either going to become a global lawyer, studying international law, and how you are going to change the system, because those laws are toothless. And we should not be at COP26 still with countries sitting in the baker room. When you go to COP, now the Conference of the Parties, you will learn all about it. All of the countries come to the Conference of the Parties. It is a UN event once a year, and only UN agencies and their connected NGOs get tickets. Tickets are like hen's teeth. Hardly anybody gets to go. UN agencies. Now, we've been very lucky. We've been 2 years running now. And you come away from COP and you get the COP blues. You get really, really depressed afterwards, because you just can't fathom why all those people are running around like headless chickens, handing their business cards out and having drinks and sandwiches and chatting and having a great time. And they've flown from all over the world, burning up those carbon emissions on their way there. And yet, here we are, heading towards 1.5 degrees. It's not right. So that one there, any child that is considering becoming a lawyer, that's the one for you. Climate Change Learning to Action is my least favorite course of all. You might like it. I hate it. It's the modern version of that Introduction to Climate Change. I can't stand it. But again, it has all of the answers that you need. I don't like it. It's not my favorite course. It's not visual. It's not exciting. It's not, anyway, whatever. Right. If you want to do it, you can. If you don't, I wouldn't bother. Introduction to the green economy. We've had schools in the UAE and in America ask us to include financial courses for their pupils. They want to understand the finance, green finance, our green economy. So we have built new courses. We've added these new courses onto the Introduction to the Green Economy. And let's go down. Green economy. And we've had Introduction to Sustainable Finance, Climate Responsive Budgeting, Fundamentals of RED+, Advancing on RED+, Sustainable Consumption and Production in Africa, Green Industrial Policy, climate policy and public finance. And the big one, financing climate action. Where is the money going to come from? And then national adaptation plans, climate information and services, international aviation and action plans to reduce CO2, integrating climate risk information, how to review IPCC assessment reports, making the right choices and keeping the taps running in a changing climate. We will have water wars within the next few years. They're already starting, and you know that because India and China are already having fights on the top of those Himalayas, aren't they? They're fighting over that glacier. Okay, so your school will have access to all of that for the teachers and for the pupils. The content that the school is going to then have is this. The school is going to want something to start introducing all of these concepts throughout the curriculum to their pupils. So what we did with Fiona, we built something called mini readers. Now, mini readers is a full 360-degree, full curriculum, cross-curricular. It is awesome. There's nothing like it. Now, let's go with the first one, Polo and the Biologist. There are 12 stories in here.
Okay.
And we found an amazing author and illustrator called Alan J. Hesse, and we approached him and said, I love your book. I want to turn your book into an audiovisual, a full 360-degree program for schools so that we can start delivering lessons on sustainability, okay? Because if children don't understand this, and these are weighty concepts, we're in trouble. So we took Alan's stories and we converted them into animated stories. So they are geography, they are PSHE, they are citizenship, they are everything, okay? And then what we did was we created, let me just go back here. Fiona created lesson plans for every single one of these stories. So it didn't matter whether the teachers were climate change teachers or not. It did not matter. The way that she built the lesson plans was to introduce the teachers to coral reefs, healthy coral reefs, bleached coral reefs. She explains coral reefs and climate change. She's got all of the references there. She's got a lesson plan, the objectives of the lesson plan, the vocabulary. She's got questions. She's got a beginner's lesson, an intermediate lesson, and she's got an advanced lesson. So everything is there, and she even has activities and extension activities. Now, we were trialing mini readers in a cluster of schools in Derbyshire just before COVID-19 kicked in. And what happened was the schools approached us and said, we are already achieving so much positive learning and tangible action with our communities. The children go home and teach the parents. How do we continue this even during lockdown? Now, something that you're going to learn a lot about in the next coming months is something called blended learning. Schools are going to be hubs and centers of education, Sania, because COVID-19 may be with us for a while. And they said that it would be 3 weeks of lockdown, and we're now a couple of months down the line, okay? Yeah. And then we're having outbreaks all over the world. What Fiona then created was a parent-carer instructions and activities. And 104 families in Derbyshire snapped the opportunity up to take part in this. But the school was always in control. The school, the teachers were always communicating with the parents, not us. And she created like lesson plans, but for parents. so that parents could deliver this at home, okay? And she changed the wording and she changed a lot of the stuff inside to make sure, like, here's the vocabulary your child will need to understand, the questions, the discussion points. And she explained about the Earth's atmosphere and what carbon dioxide is and how it's affecting the oceans. And then she created extension activities and projects. And then, from the feedback from that, she created challenges so that the families at home that are working on this project at home would be learning about where our climate change bear was in the world, and they would be tying themselves in knots, practicing knots, creating a machine for catching fish, how the boat has sprung a leak and how you stop the water coming in. You know, everybody was getting engaged, and the school and the teachers were communicating with all of the families, and they were taking photographs of what they were doing. Now, one mother told the group that her child had insisted she writes down 100 times on paper, the coral is dying. And the mother was forced by her child to write it down 100 times. So what you are getting here is you are getting a whole school approach. The school is delivering this cross-curricular climate curriculum. And they are not only delivering it to the children, they are including the parents and the community as well. It is called blended learning, but the school is the team that oversees it. They are the ones that have a solid Facebook group with the school, with the parents, and they're saying to them, today we're going to do a lesson. They've got their Google Classroom, their Microsoft Teams. They deliver the lesson to everybody in class and at home, and then they say, these are the projects, here's the story, here's the video, here's everything you need. Then we were very, very blessed. We were approached by World Peace Day, and they asked if they could partner with us. And they kindly gave us lessons for peace to add to our mini readers program. Now, we know that without peace and justice, we can't have sustainability. We just can't. So it's one of those very, very important SDGs that we have to work towards. We have to work towards peace. So the children at home had this peace poem that they had to do. And then all of the information, all of the support, everything that they needed is included in that package. Now that is mini readers. I'm going to show you something else. There are 12 stories in mini readers. That is enough for a school to deliver for a year. So each one of those stories is delivered throughout the curriculum for a month in a school. So it can either be delivered in the school, or the school oversees it as a blended learning project with families at home. Okay? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Then we created something new called Wild Planet Explorers. Now we have Wild Planet Explorers Juniors, which is 3 to 9 years, and Wild Planet Explorers, which is kids 9 to 17 years. That is delivered by a world-leading, renowned, award-winning biologist and conservationist, a lady called Joanna McFarlane. Joanna McFarlane was sponsored by Scottish Water to deliver her special training to all the schools in Scotland a few months ago. So we're very lucky Joanna allowed us to film both of those programs, and those are going to be included for our schools within the next, they should be ready in about two to 3 weeks time. Everything that is in here is to ensure that your school starts delivering concepts of sustainability. The other thing, do you remember back there, we said that there was an extra course called Sustainable Food Technology. Do you remember that? what we've been working on is your food tech teacher will be teaching sustainable gardening, urban homesteading. So how to have an urban homestead. So for example, we live in a town, we don't have a garden, but my daughter is 12 and she has, during lockdown, she has gotten my husband to take pallets and to build them into raised garden planters, and she's planted vegetables. She's got herself a Wendy house for free on Freely Wheelie, which she got rebuilt in our porch area, and we had a sliver of land between our wall and our hedge, which you couldn't grow anything on. And she turned that into a chicken run, and she got 14 rehomed hens that would have been otherwise gassed. And she now has 14 hens, and they provide her with 11 to 12 eggs a day. And she uses all of our kitchen waste, all of our vegetable peelings, our potato peelings, our carrot peelings, vegetable peelings, those are fed to the chickens. Any waste bread is soaked and given to the chickens. And their shells, she reuses their shells because they need that to make sure that their eggs are nice and healthy. She's even going now and figuring out how she's going to make apple cider vinegar, because it's really good for the chicken's guts to make sure that they're healthy. So she's finding that she's far more sustainable. But something else happened while she was doing that. I refused to give my daughter pocket money. So what she's done is she wrote a letter to all the neighbors in the area, and she said, I've got too many eggs. I'm going to give one lucky household 6 eggs a day. First come, first served, £2 a box of 6 eggs. And she earned herself £60 a month, like that. Okay? So she set up her own business without any investment whatsoever. But the other thing that she's been learning is she's been taking the eggs and she's been baking. So she's been looking at sustainable baking, and she's looking at the carbon footprint and the plastic, the packaging, where food comes from. So she's looking at the flour that she uses. Where does it come from? How far does it travel from the mill? What is the carbon footprint of that flour? And then she's making her own tortillas. So she says to me, I've now made fresh tortillas. I don't need to buy tortillas from the shop. I don't need, packaging. It doesn't have to fly miles and miles. It doesn't have to be in a factory. I've cut down on the carbon footprint of my own food. My food is becoming more sustainable. So she started making fresh pasta, fresh spaghetti, just flour, eggs, and oil. And she said, if I can cut back on just some of those items of plastic that we were generating each week, I am going to be making a huge difference if every child in the world starts following my example, just by cutting out that packaging, okay? And also the where it's traveling from. So she's been researching that. So she's got her sustainable gardening, and she's building a program for you with recipes on sustainable cooking and sustainable baking. So she's hoping that will all be delivered in your school. So your school has the full 360 degrees. You have your teachers trained to deliver climate change literacy and teaching. They understand all of the concepts and the policies and everything that is involved in sustainability, all the SDGs. You have your school's inset training, and your school then has access to all of that blended, that special package that the school can dip in and dip out of whatever courses and training that it wants to deliver to the pupils directly. Now, your school is going to have pupils like you. You are going to want to go that one step further, because the questions that you've asked me are, what are some of the barriers that prevent people from understanding the complexity of the issue and taking drastic measures to help mitigate the effects of climate change in their communities? You don't need to take drastic measures, Sania. If my daughter can just get herself some chickens and start having her own vegetable garden, where we have no garden in these raised planters, she starts becoming more sustainable. We as a family start adopting. There's nothing drastic about it whatsoever. We didn't even know it was happening. She just did it.
Okay.
So the other day, she goes on Freely Wheelie, which is like free cycle on steroids, and she sees a greenhouse going for free. So she says, right, I've written to the guy, I've emailed him, and we're going to go and get that greenhouse. And I'm like, where's it going to go? She said to me, we're getting rid of your car. Why are we getting rid of my car? Because she says, we don't need it. Look, we've just been through lockdown. Where have we been? We don't need it. We can get rid of your car. Public transport will just have to improve. So my car has to go, and she's now got my husband rebuilding. He's gone to this guy's house and fetched this greenhouse, taken it apart, rebuilding it in the garden so that she can have a greenhouse. Now her other project, she said to me, you know the shed that you've got there with all your stuff in storage? Yeah, she says, that's going to go because I'm going to put up a polytunnel and I'm going to show you how I'm going to grow fruit and vegetables, you know, almost throughout the year. Now, that's a 12-year-old. So if a 12-year-old can change an entire family, nothing drastic has happened. We've just done it. It just becomes part of your life, you know, like we all had to accept lockdown. It's just, there's nothing big, you know. Now you've said, what is the importance of educating others about the issue of climate change and how can we spread awareness in schools? So this is a great question. The only way that you are going to do this is for you to own the media. Now, built into our Harvard education, into your school's package that they get as part of an eduCCate Global Award, Gold Award school, we've got a program called, where is it? PR for Your School. And Hannah Jane, there are two versions. We start off with two programs. One for the teachers. We teach the teachers how to get media savvy. And one for the kids. This is delivered by Hannah Jane. She will teach you how to generate PR and marketing and media interest in your initiatives. Now, during the lockdown, Hannah Jane has not only worked through this course and presented it herself, she's created 4 or 5 case studies where she got me to join a Facebook group, and she was monitoring the comments, the reaches out of the media, and she got me to answer some of those questions. Hannah Jane got herself onto the BBC News. She was one of the most viewed items for like 3 days. She got herself onto the cover of the Metro newspaper. She got herself into the Guardian newspaper with her chickens. So if a 12-year-old can do that, and every one of you in your school, when you start learning how to write press releases and build your own press kit and create your own media room, your own press room for your school, you can get articles into any newspaper in the world. Now, PR for Your School is a white label of something that I use that is actually very, very expensive normally, but this is included. PR for Your School is included within your school package, within your Gold Award. Now, we train you, we train your teachers, and we train the pupils when they get to that point where they're at the Gold Award to be able to have their very own media room, okay? So I'm just gonna log myself into my media room.
Yeah.
And what happens is you will all be taught, so this is my press room, yes? So I'm just gonna show you, for example, last week, Denise Meisner and I, crazy ladies that we are, we're just 2 mums. Sania, we're nothing special. We're 2 mums, and we've done all of this from our kitchen table. Denise's kitchen table is in Swansea. My kitchen table is in Hitchin in Hertfordshire, okay? So if 2 mums can do this, and we can fund this ourselves, because we've had no support, this has not been funded by the UN, we funded this ourselves, last week, we gave away something that we created. It's a handwriting assessment training for teachers. And Denise and I decided that schools in the United Kingdom and around the world need help because of the COVID-19 lockdown. So Denise and I drafted a press release, and we sent out an email to every head teacher in the United Kingdom offering them our training for free. That training, if we add it up for every school in the UK, is worth £47 million. And we gave it away for free. Now, we're just about to launch the press release about it, but we've hung back because we are about to launch something with Hammersmith and Fulham Borough Council. Hammersmith and Fulham Borough Council have created a COVID-19 emotional recovery strategy course. It's a training for head teachers. And we've asked them if they would give that to every school in the world for free, and they've agreed. So we're going to include that within our press release. We're going to do a live press conference with the leader of Hammersmith and Fulham Borough Council, Sally Brooks, Fiona Cowan, Satwinder, who's created the training, and Jan Parnell, who's the Director of Children and Education, and Stephen Cowan is the leader of Hammersmith and Fulham Borough Council, and Larry Calhoun. And we're going to give that to every school in the world for free. And we will then put a press release out ourselves. We won't pay a PR agency to do that for us. We will do that. And this is what we are going to teach you and your schools within PR for your school. Because when you own the media, you own the world. And if you want to get more schools on board to be like your school, you have to do a PR campaign to promote every positive initiative that you are delivering. You have to get the press to pick up on your stories, and we are going to teach you how to do that. Now, this is our press room. So this was, now, when we launched our eduCCate Global Climate Change Teacher course, everybody must have thought that we were absolutely loaded, that we must be supremely wealthy. We delivered a PR campaign that if we had paid a PR agency, it would have cost us between £6 and £7 million. And Denise and I did that ourselves. I think it cost us about, it was quite expensive for us, but the whole of eduCCate Global cost Denise and I about £450,000 that we paid for over the year. But we basically out-Saatchi'd Saatchi and Saatchi. And we are going to teach you and your school how to do that. Because if you want to get your message out to a wider audience, you need to be able to send out press releases. And that's the way to do it. Because nobody's going to listen to you. The proof is in the pudding, Sania. They want to see tangible action. They want to see, not everybody is a leader like you. Not every school has a teacher that is prepared to put their head above the parapet and a head teacher that's going to be there to support them. They want to first see that there is a school that has done these awards, that has worked through these programs. So when you find schools like Asha Alexander's in Dubai, where every teacher in the school is a sustainability and climate change lead teacher, schools like Westminster School in Dubai, where they have not only one sustainability and climate change team, they've got 5. They've got 5,000 children onboarded onto the e-library. You can't, those schools are rare, but those schools that lead, when you have a school like that that leads and they start generating their own media about what they're doing and they start learning about how to master that media, that's a powerful combination. Your word gets out far, far quicker. Okay, does that make sense? Yes. So it's not so much about how do you get your story out. It's about the training that you need to become, a PR and a marketing guru. And we need to be able to give you that training and that support to show you, and the platform, just like the platform that we use to be able to get out our press releases. Now, we can only get out 2 press releases a month, and that's like £400 a year. But with PR for your school, you will be able to get out 4 press releases a month. So 1 press release each week over 12 months. And you will know how to write press releases. So every child in your school gets an opportunity to learn how to do the headlines, how to write them. They have to have media training, because what happens when your press release goes out? When that press release went out, look there, world's first UN accredited climate change teacher course starts in the UK. We had the Sky News wanting to film us. We had, you need to know that you have 8 seconds in that live TV broadcast to get your message across. And you don't know that unless you've been trained. You have to be media trained up the yin yang, because you can say one wrong thing and those lovely climate deniers are going to try and claw you down. So you need to know what you're doing, how to bang that message right home to people that are going to listen to you and follow you, because you are the leader. Okay? So that is something really exciting that your schools are all going to have. Your school is going to have Get Media Savvy for your teachers and parents and Get Media Savvy for kids. They are going to then have access, when they are the Gold Award school, to PR for your school. And your entire school is going to create, I mean, you think about it, you can put out an article all about some of your pupils doing gardening, urban homesteading, and the results, and the data, and polls, and statistics, and the food, and the air miles, and the reduction of the carbon footprint. They can interview somebody interesting like Denise. They can interview someone interesting like you and ask you questions and create an article all about you. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Now, you've asked me about number 7. A large percentage of the population is below the poverty line. How can we expect them to worry about how sustainable their lifestyle is when they are struggling to put food on their table? How can they decrease the impact they have on the environment? Now, I can assure you that once you've done these courses, you will understand that it is not the developing countries that is the problem. It is us, the developed countries. Our desires. We desire. We want the latest trainers, the latest clothing. We have no consideration for the carbon footprint of our lifestyles. We are unsustainable. It is us. We are the ones that need to learn, not those developing countries. The developing countries are the ones that are supporting we are, for want of a better word, raping the planet. They are the ones that are suffering as a result of our desires. So you only have to meet with the OECS team, and they will start teaching you all about what's happening to their islands, to Bangladesh, to the Caribbean. And when you go to the Conference of the Parties and you see all of these countries go into the baker room, and when they talk about, they've got 3 minutes, each country's only got 3 minutes, and they talk about what's happening, and the developed countries sit there with their fingers in their ears. They're not interested. So the only way we're going to do this is for you and your fellow students and all the students around the world to join forces and run the world. We failed. My generation, we failed. Our leaders have failed. Yes.
One important part for that is that the children and youth today are spending their entire lifetime in the era of climate change and planet protection. So it really, we are counting on you.
All that Denise and I could do was create the vehicle to deliver the climate curriculum. That's all we could do. But we know from our own experience, you know, don't forget, you know, Denise is a top, she's an autism specialist and an occupational therapist. And I created a handwriting scheme about 9 years ago. And I learned that if you are going to bring in something new, you have to upskill the teachers And then you have to find a way for the delivery of that method to be so unique that it knocks everybody's socks off.
The other thing is that this vehicle that we've created, and we're so glad that you are so interested, it's not just for the elite students, it's for every student. Even my son with autism, he has attended conferences with me and events for climate change. And the way he explains that how they use in school, how we use at home, you can use the recycling and other activities to work on maths and literacy and numeracy. So everybody can be involved at any level.
Now you had a question here, Sania. You said, who is responsible for taking action to stop climate change from worsening? Is it the government or individual citizens? What can we do on an individual level and as a community? When we are educated, when we understand the science of it, when we understand the science of it, and we start living sustainably, when we start seeing impacts that we are having, and we just start changing the way that we live on a day-to-day basis, and we start becoming more savvy as to what is going on. So like I said to you about that international legal regime, there are going to be thousands and thousands of potential global international lawyers like you just waiting to learn this stuff, because you are the individuals that are going to take those big corporations down and to force them to start delivering that new green economy.
And you will be working for policy change.
Yes. You will be the individuals that will go into the seats and the positions of power.
Mm-hmm.
You will stop the political ability of these individuals to fund projects for particular politicians and get away with all sorts of crazy stuff. Okay? So it's us. We are responsible. So that's the answer to question 8. Now 9. The fossil fuel, meat and dairy industries are major contributors to air pollution and are worsening the greenhouse effect, causing global climate change. As these industries have been around for decades and decades, there are thousands, if not millions of people working in these industries. If we were to shut these industries, the livelihoods of the people employed in the industry will be affected. How can we switch to using renewable energy and stop consuming meat and dairy products without having a negative impact on the lives of thousands? Now, that question would have been a really tough one to answer before COVID-19. Because COVID-19 happened and we all just stopped traveling. We just mostly stopped, almost the motor of the world stopped turning. And then there was a really interesting thing that happened. Did you notice that oil went into negative equity? That they had to pay countries to take their oil. Did you notice that? $30 minus. They had to pay. There was so much oil coming out that they didn't have anywhere to store it. They had to pay $30 per barrel for people to take their oil.
It's true.
Okay. Now, renewable energies are not the end all and be all that we have all been led to believe. And there are many, many ways that we can all start changing that. And we had a meeting in Dubai with a very big bank. And the lady said to us, she said, in this building, there are 30,000 people working in this building. Artificial intelligence will replace their jobs by the end of this year. How do we retrain these 30,000 individuals in this building so that they have something to go to. Now, the only way is to educate them on the green economy. If they are already in finance, they should now be learning all about green finance. Because where one industry is closed, an entire other industry, a new green industry, the green economy will take over. So we get hung up on what we don't know and our fear. We have these limiting beliefs. We were discussing this morning, Denise and I, that our limiting beliefs can hold us back, and our fear that we're not going to break through that wall or get over that speed hump holds us back. And sometimes when you just let go and you just say, okay, I'm going to go with this, I'm going to move, I'm going to let the spirit work through me or the universe work through me, and I'm going to move, those walls disappear, they dissolve.
And you end up role modeling excellence for others, because others may be thinking they want to contribute, they want to learn something new, they want to try, but they're kind of waiting, they have paralysis, and until someone else makes the first move, then they get the idea, okay, I'll move, I'll try.
So it's like, you were saying about how do we all stop, are we going to stop eating meat? Those are big industries. Are we going to stop eating dairy? My 12-year-old we don't eat meat since November. We just don't. And there's a whole new industry because there's plant-based products. So we're no longer contributing that carbon footprint, and physically we feel better and we're more sustainable. So where one industry falls down, another industry rises. You only have to look on Netflix. There's an amazing series called Revolutions. I think it's called Revolutions.
Okay.
And you look at Ford, the Ford Model T Ford, how they created how Mercedes-Benz, how Mr. Benz created the Mercedes-Benz car, and how his wife had to use it to get to one side, and it created this massive industry. So the horses, all the horse poop was piling up, and they didn't know what to do with the horse poop. So you had an industry where everybody said, no, nobody's ever going to stop using horses. They did. So where you say, well, nobody's going to stop using cars, they will. We'll start using things like Hyperloop, or we won't have cars. We won't even need lithium batteries. We'll just, if I want to go to America, I'll just get in a Hyperloop and go under the ground on Elon Musk's Hyperloop, and I'll be there in 3-4 hours. Things change, new industries, new ways will be created, and those will create new jobs. We will pivot. Sometimes we can't be stuck. We have to say, okay, this is no longer working for me or my community or my planet. I have to pivot. Okay, so that's my answer to that question. The world we live in is a plutocracy where money holds the highest value, even above human life. How can we help protect the environment and improve the economy of a country, given that one of the biggest solutions to prevent climate change from worsening is to switch from non-renewable sources of energy to renewable ones such as solar and wind energy? How can we influence people with an anthropocentric viewpoint? Now, money is still necessary, but we have noticed a huge emotional shift with COVID-19. We've also noticed that individuals have become hypo-emotional or hyper-emotional. So we've had this lockdown where we've just all of a sudden, what is our money? What is the value of our money? Denise and I didn't have any money, so it didn't really bother us. We were like, okay, we've been living like this from hand to mouth for the last 2 years while we build this. But a lot of people had a big fright. When you have to come to terms with not having any money, it's a bit of a freak out. But once you come to terms with it and you start weighing up your work-life balance and your family balance and your relationships with your family. And what's important to you is your health. Your health is your wealth. Your family, the love and those emotional connections of your family, those are your wealth. Yes, we need money to buy food, to buy items, but do we need all that stuff?
One of the key lessons I learned from business mentors was that the lean business models, those who don't have a lot to spend, they survive actually better at times than those who have a whole bunch of money at one time because they spend it without care. Whereas the lean business owners have to really think and really be creative and dig deep and find stuff inside themselves that they didn't know existed. And those are great life lessons anyway, because whether you're a parent or you're a child or you're a youth and you think you need to have a whole bunch to get anything done, no, really, you just need to look inside yourself and think, what can I do right now, today, this afternoon, to move forward just a small bit.
Now, your question number 11. I've noticed that numerous people, although aware of the impact climate change has on the environment and our health, refuse to accept that it is occurring as solutions conflict with their personal values and beliefs. How can we overcome this barrier to help persuade them to alter their lifestyle? Education. We learn from each other. We are social beasts. And when you start seeing, so for example, in that school, that first school, Fiona's school in Derbyshire, when you start seeing a school where children are learning, children as young as 3 years to 7 years old, the children go and teach their parents. And we've had parents make statements like, I used to be a climate denier, and I realized how wrong I was. Now I am a climate activist.
Yeah.
So a child has a wonderful way of teaching us where we as adults are going wrong. And sometimes we have to hold up our hands and say, I mean, I'm the first one. I will say, I failed. I was totally wrong. I got this so wrong. You can kick my butt, Denise. You know, because I honestly thought that we only needed one climate change teacher in every school. How wrong was I? I honestly thought that all we needed was to just give some courses and that's it. How wrong was I?
But you took first steps, and as you take a step, you think of something else, you think of something else, you think of something else. The other thing is that, for example, when you live in a community and let's say you get your electric bill, they found that the only way to get people to reduce electricity wasn't to tell them they had to do it, and it wasn't to reprimand them. It was about showing a graph of who else in their community was reducing their electricity use. So on the electricity bill, it would say, this is, you know, the number of people in your area, this is what they normally use. And if you're up here, you all of a sudden feel guilty because everybody else has reduced their electricity. So all you gotta do is, you know, keeping up with the other members of your community helps you kind of think, where do I need to turn off a light here or turn off something there, or use a smart machine to do the like the apps that help with electricity management, for example.
Now there was a question you said. 3, are you aware of some of the health effects of climate change caused by an increase in temperature, atmospheric carbon dioxide, sea levels, and the occurrence of natural disasters? If you are, then would you be able to elaborate on the same? Now, I can honestly put my hand up and say that before we built this course and this entire program and this training and the whole package that we've built over the last 2-3 years, I knew that climate change was a problem, but it was only because I had to do these courses and learn with my own child. And I think that it's about education. I didn't know it all. I think that the press, there's not enough. It's been suppressed for too long. And the only way that we are going to get this out is by every single school, every participating eduCCate Global school will have their very own press room and media room and their own online newspaper, their very own eduCCate Global newspaper. And they will be sharing learning, lessons, content, ideas, initiatives, information. And the more information that gets out there, the more we cannot run from it or hide from it or say, I don't know, I'll stick my fingers in my ears. So I didn't know all of this. I didn't. And there's still a lot that I need to learn. But it is incredibly, incredibly important. So we have to learn. It's education. Education is the key, and teachers are the most important individuals on the planet. Teachers, our schools have these teams, these sustainability and climate change leadership teams, and those teams are going to be the ones that are going to remap the school curriculum. They're going to build in that cross-curricular climate curriculum, 30 to 50 hours per school. They're going to deliver these programs. They're going to deliver this content. You as pupils, you are going to do all these UN courses and more. You have no choice now, Sania. I'll be around there bothering you, saying, why? What's happened? You know, spent all my Sunday morning talking to you. Right, now, what was the other question? It's the same one. What are the barriers? They're not barriers. They're just a lack of understanding, a lack of, you know, we're so selfish, but it's when it affects us as a family, as a unit, individually. And it's only because my child has come home and said, I want to grow my own vegetables. I want my own chickens. I don't want to waste anymore. I don't want to buy stuff in plastic. I'm not going to do this. I don't want fast fashion. I want to learn how to do all these things. It just gets you thinking, and you have to get involved. And when it starts impacting on you and the ones you love, you have no choice but to get involved or be left out in the cold. Okay. I think, what is the importance of educating others? It's everything. It's everything. I think we've answered all of your questions. What we will do is we will also type some answers for you. You can transcribe this meeting. I'll give you access to the video of it. It's a Facebook Live. It's for all of our all of our eduCCate Global teachers, the ones that have joined us in the past. And maybe those teachers would like to offer you some ideas. But I'm just going to leave you with one last thing. On our e-library, do you remember earlier on, I showed you how the e-library is translated into many, many languages. What we do is we collect news and current events from around the world. And those, when you click on them in the e-library, you will have the article, the image, and you will have the synopsis. What we've found is that schools are taking these articles and they are using the translation toggle to translate them into German, Russian, Arabic, French, Italian, I don't know, Polish, all sorts of languages. And the students are then, because you know, sometimes the translation tool isn't quite right, and the students are then rewriting that article with the correct grammar, and they are using them as lessons, and then they are starting to repost them here in those other languages. So you as students, you can share your blog post that you create on this platform. This is your platform. We built this for you. And you can then use that in your newspaper article that you write about once we teach you how to get media savvy. You can have all the statistics that are in here. You can have all the polls. You can have all the information, all the data. The UN has the best data on the planet. You can't fault the UN and NASA. They are risk averse, I can assure you. They go through layers of bureaucracy to make sure that nothing goes out that isn't signed off. You have the WWF educator course and training. You are going to have the Hammersmith and Fulham Borough Council, all of their training, all of their teams. We've got all of the Hammersmith and Fulham Borough Council schools are coming on in the next few days, and they are going to be creating all of their content in there that they'll be sharing. You've got the UN courses there. You've got the University of California, Irvine Peaceful Planet teacher training course, and all of the World Peace Day lessons are going to go in there. You will have all of the NASA. NASA has created a new course which is called, just lost my brain. It's I'll remember in a minute. It's on our document. I'll go down here. Here we go. How it works. Sorry, my brain is cooked.
I just want to
I
thank you,
need a nice cup of tea.
for being willing to ask all these questions. That's amazing.
Oh. No, thank you so much for answering
No,
them.
do you know, Sonia, we will answer until the cows come home. But what we wanted to do was we didn't just want to answer one. We wanted to answer billions. So that is why we created something. We created a method of delivery. There you go. NASA has created the Conflict Resolution and Emotional Literacy course. And that is an amazing, amazing lady. She runs the jet propulsion team at NASA. She's awesome. So we have amazing people that are coming to us. I know what's missing. When you go to your e-library, there is going to be a new area for you, which is going to be so exciting. And we're going to be launching that in the next few days. On the e-library, we have been approached by some of the world's leading inventors, people that have been working on new ways to sort out the problem of carbon, of our CO2 issues and our sustainability. And we are going to have a new area here called the Inventors Corner, okay? And you will be able to, the students will be able to speak, to see the inventors are going to share the science, the biology, the technology that they've been working on with you, and you will be able to ask them questions directly. And they may even give you projects and say, we're stuck on a particular item, can you please help us? And that way we can all collectively join together to make these projects work. There are incredible inventions out there that are just not seeing the light of day. Because like you said, we have a plutocracy. And those individuals that run the plutocracies, they have their friends and family and their friends from school that they'd like to promote and fund. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that everybody has a fair opportunity. Our motto, Denise and mine, our motto is that we want to make sure that those who have a ton, we want to break down those barriers between those who have a ton and those who have none. And this is our method of doing so. We've been vilified on social media. We've been attacked. We have teachers trolling us on Twitter, telling us that we are capitalist pigs. I wish they could see the way we live, because I put my family under huge peril doing this and funding this. And Denise has put her family on the, you know, in a situation as well, making sure that we can keep this all going. We make sure that our teams are paid for, you know, the people that work for us. But Denise and I haven't had a wage for about 3 years now. So we're not doing this for money. We're not here to make a fast buck, you know. Yes.
And when we demonstrate that we are working with our intentions to get this job done because you do the right thing, because it's the right thing, then your family members can see, and your friends and your neighbors, the community can see, it's okay to work and to scrape and to dig deep, and then that's a skill that they're going to need as they grow up. I don't want someone handing my son a silver spoon. I want him to learn some skills, because if he has a silver spoon, then like COVID came, and then all those who were used to living like way up high, easy breezy, all of a sudden, boom, they're down the rest of us. So that shock is really hard to take. So I'd rather have my son see me work and know that he also gets included, and it's a balance. Sometimes mom's at work, sometimes mom's downstairs with him, and that's also just good for healthy boundaries.
So Sania, you're going to go away, and on Monday we're going to get your school to activate their access to the eduCCate Global blended learning full package, and then we're going to speak with your head teacher, and your head teacher is going to nominate your sustainability and climate change lead teacher, and they're going to nominate their support team, and then we're going to go forward with you because you're going to present everything you've done today. Everything you've seen here is what you want for your school.
Yeah.
Okay. And if there's anything that you need from us at all, I mean, you've got us on WhatsApp. Message us. Okay. Thank you so. And if there are any other questions that you have, you can always, you are now on this community. You can ask all the other students that are on here. I know I'm going to send you the link. We have a student on here that is delivering his own weekly climate change YouTube channel lessons, and he's going to be adding them all onto the eduCCate Global portal. So I will give you access to that, and I will share it on the group, and then you can share that with all of your friends. But we want to be able to get as many students working on the e-library as we possibly can, because all of the validated scientific evidence and case studies are here. We don't want to give you stuff that isn't great stuff. It's got to be the best. Okay. Have an amazing day, and we will see you. So you're going to be our star in India, aren't you? I can't believe that you're 15 years old. Oh, I wish I was.
At your age, when I was your age, I was babysitting, but I wasn't doing what you're doing. I mean, amazing.
I mean, we are not worthy. 15. Oh, if I could be 15 again, I would. So much I would not do. I would focus on my education. Have an amazing day, Sania. If there's anything you need,
so much.
Thank you for letting your mum get in touch, for allowing you to use her phone, for you to phone all the way from India. And we will speak to you again soon. When you are ready, let's do another live Zoom, another live Facebook, and we'll show everybody what you've achieved on here, okay?
Yep.
Neil, high five.
Thank you.
Bye, ladies. Have a good day.
Bye. Thank you.